Aloha everyone. Welcome to the fourth training session of District 49. Now, if you are a guest attending a Toastmasters event for the very first time, or if you have stumbled upon this video on YouTube and you have no idea what you have clicked upon, let me explain it to you. We are Toastmasters International. We are a non-profit educational organization which aims on promoting skills such as leadership and public speaking. We have roughly 270,000 members all around the world in 14,000 clubs in more than 140 countries. You are watching District 49's public relations training session. District 49 is the Hawaiian community of Toastmasters International. We have roughly 50 clubs here and more than 500 members. Now, as a district, we aim to build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving excellence. And it's almost impossible to achieve this if you don't know what you're doing with public relations. And that is why, as the public relations manager, this term I've come up with this series. This is the fourth session. We have already 3 sessions out. If you have missed them, you can go and check them out on YouTube. But for the fourth session today, we are going to deep dive into graphic designing using Canva. Now, in Toastmasters, we have this thing called branding guidelines. We want all of our community to look the same, feel the same, belong to the same community, and branding helps with that. So, on that note, let me introduce to you today's agenda and our trainer for the today. So, today's training is titled Brand You. It would be led by Alicia Curtis. It will be, as I mentioned, focused on learning how to design graphics using Canva while complying with Toastmasters branding. Alicia is a former public relations manager for District 100, which is the Toastmasters community for California. She has formerly served as the Division A Director of District 49, which is Hawaii. She's currently serving as the Area 35 Director in Division C in District 119, which is New York. This is her 12th term as a district leader. She has been the club mentor for Dhaka Toastmasters Club, the first Toastmasters club that ever chartered in Bangladesh. She was the conference speaker of District 51, Malaysia in 2021-22. She was the Udly ambassador in 2023. She's a 4-time distinguished Toastmaster, and she's been in Toastmasters since 2010. She's currently a full-time student pursuing a Bachelor of Business in Event Management at Torrance University. And also, she is currently a professional sports commentator in Australia, broadcasting live on TV in Sydney, NSW. She calls netball. So, if you are into sports betting, you know whom to contact when you have to bet on netball. On that note, let us welcome distinguished Toastmaster Alicia Curtis as she guides us about Canva and Toastmasters branding. So please welcome her with a huge round of applause.
Thank you, and aloha, everyone. It is wonderful to be here back in District 49 tonight. It's Friday here in Sydney, and I'm sure it's a lovely Thursday evening there in beautiful Hawaii. Great to be back in the Aloha District. Tonight, I'll be sharing on branding as well as setting up your Canva account and how we can actually design beautiful graphics to design for our particular club. So if you do have some questions, put them in the chat. I'll get Tanish to shout them out as we go through this beautiful session today. We've got a very small but a very intimate group here, and I'm very excited to be sharing with you all. So I will share my screen and we will start. So I think it's really important that we start with our guidelines and the branding. So this is the lovely little thing. I even put a video there for you all, and we can really use how we can actually use Canva to effect. So I've done the PowerPoint slides in Canva, and I can show people how we can actually do this even further. As you can see, public relations is about marketing, it's about tools, it's about communication, it's about getting the brand out, and it's about making all of us aware of what Toastmasters International is here and how we can actually get our brand out to the greater community. Who wants more members in their club? Hand up if you want more members in your club. Most of us would love to have more members in our clubs. I think this is a global thing at the moment. We really do want to see more people coming into our clubs. So today, the basic content we'll be going through is what is a brand? So identifying what a brand is. We're going to be looking at the new brand manual. Did you know that Toastmasters International released a brand manual in the last 3 months? Hand up if you knew that. Yep, some of you did, some of you didn't. That's okay because it's really important. The logo and why we need to protect the Toastmasters International logo. The fonts that we can use when we are designing our graphics and our posters, etc., for our clubs. The color palette, very important to focus on images. And of course, we're also going to be looking at Canva. So these are our learning objectives. We're going to recognize, we're going to identify, we're going to demonstrate, and we're going to develop. Now, I'm not going to read those. I think it's pretty self-explanatory what we're going to be doing, and I will provide the PowerPoints after this session. I just want to get a bit of a show of hands. How do you feel? How do you actually feel about public relations? How do you feel about the brand, the understanding of branding and the concepts of marketing? So if you say confident, put it in the chat. If you're hesitant, put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourselves. I'm actually going to call on a first victim, and that first victim is Kim, because I can see Kim was ready to type. Kim, how do you feel? How are you feeling about Toastmasters International brand and public relations and marketing?
I am probably somewhere in between. I know that's not the answer you want to hear, but I feel pretty confident about the brand because I know there's a branding manual, but I'm hesitant because I feel like I'm doing like a very pushy sales pitch, and I don't want to do that. I want them to feel comfortable. So somewhere in the middle. Yeah. Thanks, Alicia.
Thank you very much, Kim. And I'll also pick on our lovely past international director, Madam Gloria Shishido. Thanks, Gloria. How do you feel? You should know a lot about it.
I know about branding, that's for sure, but I am unfamiliar, very hesitant about the PR part of that. And in all fairness, I think I've seen her Canva illustrations and how she has introduced her club in the social media. I am nowhere near that. I'm at home base. If you're a baseball fan, I'm at home base, just standing there waiting.
Thank you very much, Gloria. So we've got some varying and differing feels towards PR and branding, and I guess it's a usual concept. Most of us are not comfortable with it because there's very strict guidelines that we must adhere to. How do we actually use it? What can we? What can't we? In fact, I've actually broken one branding violation in that particular slide. I'm using, see the graphics? I am not allowed to actually use those type of graphics. I'm allowed to use the picture up in the top right-hand corner, but I'm not allowed to see where I've got the little guy with the power. I'm all really powerful and the person questioning, because that is deemed as clip art. So clip art is not really allowed. However, if you look at the Toastmasters International website and Toastmasters International as a corporation itself, they actually also have used it. So there is a bit of a pull and, a tug on whether do I or don't I, but this is an infograph. So in this case, in this circumstance, yes, it actually can be used. So sort of describing things. It's one of those things. Do I or don't I? But I'm trying to use it from an infographic point of view. All right. How do we define Toastmasters? How do we actually define the brand of Toastmasters? I like this word cloud. Anyone seen word clouds before? Hands up if you've seen word clouds before. Yep, a few of us. Some of us have, some of us haven't. So this was in the Toastmasters International magazine in 2019 by Les Suderman. And this was how his club described the Toastmasters International brand. It's really powerful, as you can see. And I think this is actually a really good way to demonstrate what you see and what people perceive as being Toastmasters. So you can see words like speech, beautiful uses of the English language as well, speaker, crowd, convention, leader, orator, you know, it's just the way that people define what Toastmasters International means to them. If anyone does want to take a picture of that, you're most welcome to take that screenshot, because I think that is a really great way to demonstrate what Toastmasters International really is. And this is coming from a member's point of view. And that is where, of course, the seeds and the plant come at the grassroots level, at our members, at the club level. And it's great to see Kevin. Hello, Kevin. Great to see you. Aloha. So what is a brand? So these are the things that a brand is described as. It's intangible. So it shapes our perception. It also is of the company, the products, or the individuals. It helps us to identify a company, a product, or an individual. I'm sure we'll all know a few brands, and I'll ask that question later. Corporations protect their brands by registering it as a trademark. Now, how many of you knew that Table Topics is actually trademarked? How many of you could actually say yes confidently that you knew that Table Topics has the words TM next to it? 2 people have just put their hands up. Some people didn't know. Yep, the words Table Topics are actually trademarked. So on a Toastmasters, unless it comes from a registered supplier for the trophy supplier for Toastmasters International, you're not allowed to use those words, Table Topics, on a trophy unless it comes from a registered supplier, just as a heads up. Yeah, something that we learned a few years ago as a PRM. And please be aware, it does actually come with, you know, costs. So it is a requirement that you use when you're getting the trophies done. If you put Table Topics on there, please make sure that it is a registered person who is able to sell the products of Toastmasters International. So this is like branding. So as you can see, I like to be a little bit creative with the videos and stuff. What is a brand? Here is a brand that I'm familiar with because, you know, admittedly, I love junk food. I was trying to find one of my favorite. What's my favorite, Jan? What's my favorite, Gloria? Gloria.
McDonald's.
McDonald's, but I didn't have McDonald's picture I could find. So I thought I'll just use the other brand, the chicken, and we'll fry it. What's your favorite brand? I want to ask you the question. So what is your favorite brand? I want to ask this around the group. Tanish, what's your favorite brand?
Apple.
Apple. Okay. Yannicka.
I would say Pizza Hut.
Okay. Pizza Hut. Kim?
Target.
Target. Okay. Gloria.
Starbucks.
Okay. I'll go to Jan because Elias is not available.
Costco.
Costco. Kevin, what's your favorite brand?
Oh, Toastmasters. Okay, no, this is just kidding. No, I'm Denise, Apple.
Apple. And Daniel.
Yeah, I would also say Starbucks.
Starbucks. Okay, we all know what mine is, McDonald's. So as you can see, I want to ask everyone also now, and one person or a couple of 2 of you have actually pointed out one that you use on a daily basis. This is actually technically your favorite brand. What is a brand that you would use on a daily basis? Think of your toothbrush. Think of something that you eat during the day. Bread. Okay, Apple. Hands up if you use an Apple phone or a Samsung phone. Most, yep, okay. All right, that's our favorite brand because we all are using it. So just being aware of what you use on a daily basis. It could be as simple as the slice of bread that you're putting in the toaster. You would have usually your favorite type of bread. That is brand awareness, and that is being a servant, so to speak, of the brand. This is called brand loyalty. So I guess it is brand loyalty, and it refers to the positive association that the consumer has with a particular content or a product of the content of the product. So people who exhibit brand loyalty are committed to the product or service shown by the consistent repurchase of the brand's offering. So I told you about the bread. Does anyone have a particular bread or a butter or type of spread that they would buy to eat with their toast? Making you think here, aren't I? Kevin, I'm sure you have a favorite brand of bread.
You hear me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Okay. Yeah, Dave's.
Dave's, okay.
Dave's, and just real quick, reason why is that it's a very good bread, like 21 grains and stuff. But this fellow who owns it hires ex-convicts to give them jobs and a start. And that's important. You just don't throw people away.
I like that. So that's not only just being loyal to the brand, but there is actually a human factor to why Kevin is loyal to that particular brand. So these are some of the identities of Toastmasters International brand. Think about the tagline, where leaders are made. I think that's now starting to drop away, but that's been for like the past 15 years. That came in, I think it was 2010, if I'm not mistaken, where leaders are made. We all know Toastmasters, where leaders are made. Club mission statement will provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. Hands up if you read that out at each Toastmasters meeting that you're a member of, okay? Some people do, some people don't. I do encourage it. Our core values. I'm going to get Dan, read out our core values. Please.
Read out?
Yeah, just what are our 4 core values of Toastmasters?
Oh, it's integrity, respect, excellence, and service.
Yes, that's correct. And our mission statement is to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. And of course, our district mission, which is one that, because we're at a district event today, we build new clubs and support all clubs in achieving, what's the lovely word? Excellence. So this is a really important part of branding, is understanding there are subparts to our Toastmasters International brand. And these are some of our values, our core values, our tagline. They make up the Toastmasters identity. The new brand manual. Hands up if you've read the new brand manual. Okay, I must be the only one that's guilty of this. I have read through this quite a bit. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I want to talk about a few of the things. There's also some new taglines as well that you can use for your club. I won't go through those today, but I will put into the chat box a copy of this new brand guideline. It is really important to read it because it is really different to previous ones. It has even much more material than it had previously. So it was updated and it was version 2.0 2025. All right. So what is the Toastmasters International brand manual? It is pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to read all of that on the screen, but it's about the fonts, the colors, the imagery, and how we actually use that text and how it's permitted by Toastmasters International. All nonprofit organizations have one of these. Yes, I did it as a typewriter. All nonprofit organizations have one. If you go to Zonta International, if you go to Rotary, Lions, name some other ones, Kiwanis, etc., they all have a brand manual and they all stick to this and they have strict guidelines to use it. So it's not just Toastmasters International. You'll often see on some places like the Toastmasters International Facebook group, I hate the branding, I hate the guidelines. Well, I'm sorry, my friends, but so do all the other nonprofit organizations. We have to stick within the guidelines and we have to adhere to what they actually put out. Remember, we don't own the brand, the corporation does, which is Toastmasters International. All right, so the logo. Here it is, clear as day on the screen. There are ways that it does need to be used. I'm not going to go through all of it. So the whole point is it's enhancing engagement. If you go to McDonald's, what do we all see? The golden M, the golden arches. Yep, the beautiful golden arches. If we go to KFC, we always see either Kentucky Fried Chicken or KFC. It depends on what part of the world you come from. You never see in other colors except only once over a 6-week period in Australia where they turn it into green and gold, the colors, and that is only for one reason, for the cricket, for the 5-day international series. So they only do it once a year, and they have to pay a lot of money to the head office in the USA to do that. So it's about improving the brand and recognition. We want to have one color, one size, and making sure it's reflective so that all Toastmasters clubs are reflective of the brand. Now, this is some violations. These are pictures I have seen all around the world, and I think it's really important to showcase these because this is what Tanishq has to look for as the PR manager when he goes and does like, you know, he does some things like with the Toastmasters International, he doesn't get Facebook pages or anything. I had to keep control of this when I was in District 100 because trust me, some of these actually did come from a couple of clubs that I know from around the world. The worst one is the Superman one. I mean, it is kind of cool that Superman is pulling his chest apart and he's ripping into his little outfit and going from Clark Kent into Superman. But we've just, you know, done 2 violations there of the brand. I think, I don't know who Superman, I think it's Marvel or whatever it is, and whoever else. So Toastmasters International as well as the creator of Superman. Look, I am all for the LGBT community, and it's really important that we actually really focus on them. But please don't put the rainbow there and then the Toastmasters International symbol. It's disrespectful, and it also corrupts the brand as well. And of course, the last one, the banner. It's actually a violation to cover the banner with all your ribbons and to hide the actual logo of Toastmasters International on the physical banner. I just want to point these out because a lot of people still do it, and it does still happen both online and in person. So just be aware. These are the fonts that you can use. So Gotham, Montserrat, Source Sans Pro, free, Myriad Pro, which is a paid version. Tanish should be able to provide the Myriad Pro, which is the main one for Toastmasters International, other than the Gotham font, Arial, and Segoe UI. That's a new one that they've included. And we have 2 new additional fonts that came on board about 12 months ago, Corinthia and Luxurious Script. And they can be downloaded for free through the web. So if you Google it, you can actually download it. There's the primary colors. There's a bit of a difference now. So there used to be 3 primary colors. Which one has moved from a primary to a secondary? I am about to voluntold. Yannicka, which one do you think has now gone down into a secondary color?
The gray.
Yes, it has. So that's now going to be a supplementary color. So our 2 primary colors are the blue, so the Loyal Blue and the True Maroon. And our secondary colors, or the accent colors, are Happy Yellow and the gray. Love it or leave it. It is debatable, but I think main focus, and in the past, I think it was blue was the speaking color, and the communication track, and the maroon was actually the leadership track, but now it reflects both of them, so you can use either or. Does anyone have a favorite color amongst those? No? Kim, which one do you like the most?
I do like the blue, and I had a quick question I was just putting in the chat, but I'll just ask. Does it still apply that blue sort of is the main color for clubs, and then red is more for district material?
Not really anymore. No.
Okay.
No. So it used to be the communication or the clubs were the blue and the leadership was the maroon. You'll still see the district officers wear their badges with the maroon and the white, and the club members or the club level will wear the blue with the white. But no, it doesn't apply when you're creating your graphics and your designs.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to do something that I really love. This is something I'm passionate about and we study at university, and it's called color psychology. Has anyone ever looked into this? Only one person. Okay. So Tanish knows what I'm talking about. I think it's really important to talk about this and why we look at color psychology. So it's about examining how colors influence perceptions and our behaviors. So in the context of marketing and branding, it specifically explores how colors shape consumers' impressions of a brand and whether they will choose to engage with it. So type in the chat what your favorite color is. Because if you notice with blue and maroon, guess what? They are the 2 power colors of the world. Green, I see a lot of green. Purple, of course, yep. Gold, yellow. It's really interesting. It's really interesting to see what people's favorite color is and how it actually works and how they identify it. So let's actually have a look at the colors and True Maroon. So True Maroon is the variant of red, a dark red or a brown color. So it's a primary color. It's one of the 2 primary colors as we spoke before. It's a combination of 3 primary colors, red, yellow, and blue. So this is the personality type. Let's read it. I'll get Kim. Did you want to read the personality type?
Of course I do. Okay, so for True Maroon, the personality type is represent sophistication, luxury, and reservation. People who choose true maroon value their individuality and being unique. They are traditionally introverted, but like to be seen as a person of sophistication.
Okay. And we do actually have someone wearing a true maroon, and he is an introvert. Thank you, Kevin. Wonderful. Yay. It's very good on the screen. Okay. We'll now go to the next one, and that is the Loyal Blue. I'm going to get Gloria to read about Loyal Blue.
The royal blue, primary color. Blue is one of the most popular colors as it often promotes positivity and good. Personality type represents honesty, sincerity, trustworthiness, and a desire to be trusted by others. People who choose blue are serious about their responsibilities and are friendly. Like
It's like you as well. See, and this is something that they do study. We do study at university. It sounds really strange, but color can actually be a really important part. Now we go to, I consider this a very underrated color of the color palette. And I'm going to get Yannicka to read this one, the cool gray.
Thank you, Alicia. Cool gray. Gray is a combination of an in-between white and black secondary color. Gray is not considered a flashy color, however, is seen as professional, modern-looking, sleek, sophisticated, and stylish. Personality type represents reservation, maturity, responsibility, and experience. People who choose gray are practical, down-to-earth, and responsible.
Okay. So if you notice some of these, there's a bit of overlap with some of these colors. And if you think about it from a corporate point of view, I would put the maroon, the gray, a black, and a white together. Does anyone else agree with that? Because it sounds like a very professional tinge. For me, it does come across as professional, but you could also put the blue in and complement with the gray, a black, and a white. So it does have a bit of sort of intersection of each other. And this man is actually wearing the color that he actually loves, and he is going to talk about happy yellow. Yes, Mitch Okamura, you will be talking about it.
Happy yellow. Secondary color, yellow is the brightest of all colors to the human eye and is attention grabbing. Personality type represents creativity, cheerfulness, fun, and someone who comes up with new ideas. People who choose yellow are typically extroverts, love junk food like McDonald's, and have lots of energy.
Yes. Okay. So as you can tell, that color is my favorite in the color palette because it represents the extrovert. Does anyone actually like the yellow in the color palette? Hand up if you like the yellow in the color palette. I actually really think it actually really highlights and resonates, and it's a fun color. So bring out the joy, bring out the enthusiasm, especially if you've got people smiling. Boom, yellow would be really good to use. Now we're going to go to the images and the photography, and I might talk a bit about the colors when we're doing Canva very shortly, because this is a really important one as well. We saw the logo being defaced by a couple of the clubs with rainbows and Superman ripping his shirt apart. But the imagery needs to actually reflect the Toastmasters International environment. It needs to have people looking engaged, empowered, and supported. And it needs to show these type of things: club meetings, area councils, presentations, speeches, networking events and venues, conferences, training venues, and of course, speech contests. So something that relates to Toastmasters International. If there's someone standing out the front with a microphone, absolutely. But if it's two people having fun at a party with wine in their hands, probably not the most appropriate, unless of course it's a Toastmasters International banner. It is a celebration, but I would probably put away, of course, the actual glass bubblies if possible, because you don't really want them to thinking, as I thought when I was joining Toastmasters, I thought it was a wine club. That's actually what I thought it was. Looks are deceiving and perception is reality. Yes, you are. Yeah, that's fine, Gloria, if you want to take a photo. No, okay. All right.
actually, my question is, when we do our screenshots
Oh, yeah, they're fine.
on Zoom,
Yep.
that's acceptable, right? I mean, we're
Yeah,
not gonna have,
absolutely.
the lectern in back of us, or well, some of us have this background
Yep.
for in the screenshot, but some do not, right?
No, they
They've all-
don't. We all know my favorite background, and I'm just going to put it up now because I just think, you know, sometimes we need to bring the fun to the party, and I do sometimes bring the fun to the party. But, you know, I don't see a problem with it, because if you're an online club or a hybrid club and you're calling internationally, overseas into the meeting, then yes, you're going to have to reflect that as part of your meeting. So yes, that is fine. All right. So that's the picture that we're looking for. That's sort of the thing that we're looking for if you're in person. And of course, the group shot if we're online as well. Imagery should not, and I'll show you some pictures. It shouldn't include landscapes. And there are a couple ones here that I'm actually going to do. I would debate with Toastmasters: animals, children, food appliances, medicine, and architecture. Do not use cartoons, illustrations, or clip art. This is coming straight from the brand manual itself. These must not be used in materials from club all the way to the region level. Now, I actually would debate with two of in the first part. I would actually debate, say if you're a photography club and you're talking about landscapes and artistry, there may be a reason to actually have those pictures in your branding, as well as architecture. And if you're a pet club, we used to have a pet club in District 49, shouldn't you be able to take a picture of you holding your pet? So I think this is very something that should be debated. And this is where I say to Mr. Public Relations Manager himself, Tanish, this is something that you need to probably bring up with Toastmasters International. If we've got clubs that are, you know, the specialty clubs that are, you know, a food club or a dinner club, why can't we have pictures of the food in the actual pictures of the photography? So I think that really is open to debate, and I have debated it over the years to Toastmasters International. And I have to say, I really do love Kevin's virtual background now. We're in the hospital bed with the Toastmasters. He's really working the room tonight. So this is the type of stuff we don't want to see. This is the type of stuff that Tanish doesn't want to see. We don't want to see the bread with masters. I mean, I really do love Toastmasters and I love eating toast. But yes. Then we've got the wizard. This one's the Wizard of Oz. This was one I saw recently. I'm like, okay. And then we've got Toastmaster on a juicer, on an orange juicer. If you get out of Toastmasters or you get out of Toastmasters, you'll never get out of Toastmasters. That's from our first ever female international president, Helen Blanchard. I'm not sure if she really wanted her quote to be used in an orange, you know, in a juicer. And of course, a rice paddy field, because, you know, hey, we've just got to have a rice paddy field in the terraces, in the rice terraces of Bali. Does this all make sense to most of you? No, it doesn't make sense to me either. But, you know, hey, that's how people perceive the brand and that's how they've identified. But this is not what we want to see. So violation 1, food, using it in a very interesting way. Second one is a graphic or a clip art with an R counter, the Wizard of R with his little stick there. Juicing out the beautiful reason why we need to stay in Toastmasters, and I'm sure Helen would love, the late Helen Blanchard would love the fact there. Then pictures of people at a Toastmasters meeting as pictures on toast, on bread, and the rice terraces in Bali. Yep, I'm confused just like all of you. Okay, now I just want to ask the quick question. How are you all feeling now? Is this giving you a better understanding of what we're looking for visually? Okay, cool. And I'm going to ask a question. Does